They walked away like you were just a chapter they'd finished reading. No warning, no real closure, just silence. And now, out of nowhere, they're back, texting, calling, asking how you've been. But why? Why does someone who left you suddenly start chasing you again? I've seen this pattern more times than I can count. In therapy sessions, in heartbroken messages, in late-night conversations with people desperately trying to make sense of it. And let me tell you, it's almost never as romantic as it looks on the surface. Because when someone who walked away decides to come back, it's not just about love, it's about psychology. It's about ego. It's about power shifts, regret, and fear of replacement. And in this video, I'm going to take you deep into the real reasons behind this emotional boomerang, so that the next time someone returns after leaving you, you'll know exactly what it means, and more importantly, what you should do next. Part 1. The psychology of regret. Let's start with something most people overlook: the mind's strange relationship with regret. When someone chooses to leave you, in that moment, they believe they're making the right decision. Maybe they thought the grass was greener somewhere else. Maybe they craved freedom or felt emotionally overwhelmed. But here's the truth: the human brain doesn't always process decisions in real time. It processes them in hindsight. And once you're gone, once your laughter, your presence, your energy is no longer in their life, something shifts. The dopamine that once spiked when they got your attention, gone. The comfort they took for granted, fading. And now in the quiet of their own space, regret begins to creep in. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance. It's the mental discomfort that happens when reality doesn't match the story they told themselves. The story where leaving you was supposed to bring them peace, happiness, clarity. But instead, they feel emptier. And that emptiness starts whispering a dangerous question: what if I made a mistake? That's when they start to look back, not at the arguments, or the miscommunications, or the things they took issue with. They look back with filtered memory, selective memory, nostalgic memory. Suddenly, every good moment with you becomes larger than life. Every time you smiled, forgave, stayed loyal, it starts to haunt them. And that's when the chase begins. Not because they truly appreciate you now, but because they're trying to rewrite the emotional discomfort they caused themselves. They're not just chasing you, they're chasing relief from their own regret. Part 2. The ego trap. Now let's go even deeper, because not all returns are driven by love or regret. Some are driven by something far more subtle and far more dangerous: the ego. You see, when someone leaves you, especially if they left thinking you'd wait, that you'd chase, that you'd hurt without them, part of that decision is often rooted in a sense of power. Consciously or not, they assume they'd always have access to you, that you'd still be there, orbiting their world, just in case they change their mind. But when you don't chase, when you go quiet, when you start showing signs of peace, of healing, of detachment, that silence becomes deafening to their ego. It sends a message they weren't prepared to receive: I'm no longer the center of your world. And that shift is threatening, because now it's no longer about losing you. It's about losing the control they thought they had over you. Suddenly, you're not validating them anymore. You're not proving your loyalty. You're not giving them that familiar hit of reassurance. And this creates an internal crisis, a blow to the self-image. It scratches at their identity. Wait, why aren't they chasing me? Am I not important anymore? Have they moved on? That's when the ego scrambles, not out of love, not out of clarity, but out of a deep need to reclaim its reflection in your eyes. They want to be wanted again. They want the power back, because your disinterest, your strength, that's what truly unsettles them. So they reach out, they flirt, they act as if they miss you. But the question you have to ask yourself is this: are they coming back for you? Or are they just trying to save face in the mirror of their pride? Part 3. Fear of replacement. There's another powerful force that can drive someone back into your life, and it's not always visible on the surface. It's the fear of being replaced. For some people, losing you isn't what wakes them up. It's the thought of someone else finding you, loving you, experiencing the version of you they once had, or worse, the version that's grown even stronger without them. Psychologically, this taps into something called perceived scarcity. The idea that once something or someone is no longer available, its value skyrockets. Even if they didn't fully cherish you when they had you, the moment you might belong to someone else, you become more desirable in their mind. It's not necessarily because they suddenly realized how much they love you. It's because the option of having you no longer feels guaranteed. And now their imagination becomes their enemy. They start picturing someone else making you laugh, touching you, getting to know your heart. And even if they didn't fight for you before, that fear that someone else might claim what they once walked away from ignites a panic. So they come back, fast, intense, saying all the right things. But what's really driving them? Sometimes it's not love, it's competition. It's a fear of losing status. It's the illusion that if someone else gets you, they've lost a game they didn't even realize they were playing. And here's the emotional truth. They didn't return because they saw your value. They returned because they suddenly feared that someone else would. Part 4. Emotional cycles and trauma bonds. Now we step into darker waters, the place where love, pain, and confusion begin to blur. Because sometimes, and when someone keeps leaving and returning, it's not about love at all. It's about a cycle, an emotional loop, a pattern neither of you fully understands, but both of you keep repeating. This is where trauma bonds are born. Trauma bonding happens when intense emotional experiences, especially ones that swing between extreme highs and deep lows, create a powerful attachment. You fight, you cry, you break, but then you make up, and the relief feels so strong, so intoxicating, that it mimics connection, even love. But it's not healthy love. It's addiction to relief. It's the psychological reward system kicking in and reinforcing the idea that pain, followed by closeness, equals intimacy. So when they come back after leaving you, it might not be clarity. It might not be growth. It might be the pull of the pattern itself, the craving to feel that rush of reconnection. Because in a trauma bond, even suffering can feel like a form of closeness. And here's what makes it even harder. They may not even realize they're doing it. To them, returning might feel genuine, real, urgent. But if you look at the pattern, if you step back from the emotions and trace the timeline, you'll likely see the same cycle replaying over and over. Highs, lows, absence, return, hope, disappointment. That's not love. That's an emotional addiction, one that keeps both people stuck, not in a relationship, but in a loop. So ask yourself, are they coming back because they've healed, or because they're hooked on the pain that feels like passion? Part 5. The power shift. Why they sense your growth. There's a moment, and it's subtle, when everything begins to shift. It's not when you cry. It's not when you beg for closure. It's not even when you block them. The shift happens when you stop hoping and start healing. See, there's something powerful, almost magnetic, about the energy of detachment. When you no longer need their validation, when their silence no longer controls your mood, when you've stopped rehearsing what you'd say if they ever came back. They feel it. Not consciously maybe, but something in the way you carry yourself changes. You're calmer, stronger. There's less noise in your presence. And that silence, it speaks volumes. To someone who once held emotional power over you, that shift is jarring because suddenly the dynamic that once comforted their ego is gone. You've outgrown the version of yourself that tolerated confusion. You've stopped making room for uncertainty. You're not angry. You're just unavailable. And nothing threatens someone more than the realization that they no longer have access to the version of you who waited. So they come back, not always because they've changed, but because you have. They sense your peace, your progress, your glow, and it stirs something inside them. Fear, regret, even longing. But sometimes it's not you they want back. It's who they were when you still love them. But here's the truth. When your energy shifts, your power returns. And that's when they realize they didn't just lose a person. They lost a version of themselves they liked better when you loved them. So when someone who left you suddenly starts chasing you again, remember this. It's not always love. Sometimes it's regret. Sometimes it's ego. Sometimes it's fear of being replaced, or the discomfort of watching you grow without them. But whatever the reason, the real question isn't why they're back. The real question is, do they deserve the new version of you? Because healing isn't just about moving on. It's about recognizing your worth. It's about understanding the difference between someone who returns out of love and someone who returns because they lost control. And now, you're no longer the same person who once waited, wondered, or broke down. You've grown, you've evolved, and maybe, just maybe, that's the reason they're really chasing you. If this spoke to your soul today, don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you've ever experienced someone coming back after leaving, drop a comment below. Let's talk about it. You're not alone in this. Until next time, take care of your heart and protect your peace.